Yes, boys, today's video, how to grow bigger arms as fast as possible. Thought this would be a useful one. Everyone wants to grow bigger arms, do they not? So thought I'd pop on and come and give you a guide on basically how I've managed to grow my arms over the last few years. I feel like I'm pretty qualified to talk about said topic. As you can see in the pictures, over the last couple of years, my arms have grown, a decent amount. So I feel like I can give some good advice. So without further ado, we shall get into it. Now, first off, I want to talk about why your arms are potentially not growing. And number one, it's coming down to obviously making some of these mistakes. So, first mistake I used to make was over prioritizing the bicep. If you have a look at my arm here, you will find that pretty much the majority of the arm is the tricep. 2/3 of your arm is the tricep. So no matter how much you train that bicep, you're only just building that portion of your arm. So over prioritizing the biceps is not the way to actually grow a larger arm. The fastest way to grow a larger arm is to train your triceps more and essentially train them twice as much. That's the best way to do things. Again, apologies about the spelling. The spelling's horrendous here, but no accuracy whatsoever when it comes to your actual movements. I've made this mistake time and time again, and it's a case of just fucking pumping the weights and just trying to bicep curl 30 kilogram and just putting enough weight through the bicep. It makes sense, right? The more weight, the more gains you're going to make. But the truth is, when it comes to arms, from what I've noticed and what every bodybuilder will tell you, is that accuracy is what really matters. How accurate you are with your training, how quality those reps are. So are you really, really lowering, 3 to 4 seconds on the way down? Are you really maximizing the squeeze? Are you turning your wrist when you come up on the bicep curl? Are you really isolating the movement and focusing on all of this? That's what's going to be indicative of a good arm workout and what's actually going to give you the results that you want. If you're just kind of going through the motions, you are not going to grow bigger arms. So just think to yourself, like, why do some of the biggest bodybuilders, why do you see like Arnold fucking curling like the 15 kgs? Like, he's obviously bigger than you. Why is he curling them? Because somewhere along the way, people realize that accuracy is what matters when it comes to your arms. So think twice when you're pumping loads of weight and try and just develop your form as much as possible and make small increments when it comes to actually progressively overloading. Because one of the biggest mistakes is you can make when it comes to your arms is trying to progressively overload it as you would a compound movement, trying to add 2.5 or 5 kilo or something every other workout. And that's pretty crazy. What you want to be doing is really, really small increments, adding a few reps and, or, here and there, or adding a little 1 kg to the plate or the cable stack. That's kind of what you're trying to do. So that's what I would say there. And then another big one is solely focusing on isolation exercises. A perfect example is when I was at university, I used to train my triceps with 2 different exercises. First one, I'll do dips as well, which is a compound, but I would basically just do my tricep extensions and my overhead extensions, which a lot of people typically do. The thing is, those are 2 isolations exercises. One does the short head, one does the long head. What you really want to be doing is incorporating your compound work where you can put a fair amount of weight through them with obviously the accuracy that we spoke about. So you've got, tricep dips, you've got skull crushers, and you've got close grip bench press. All the bodybuilders do this, success leaves clues. There's a reason why people with massive triceps often do skull crushers. It's because it's a very good compound exercise that will target both heads of your tricep. And then you want to supplement that with some isolation work, such as a rope extension, single arm, crossbody, whatever it is. Just don't only rely on the rope extensions to grow your triceps. You should be putting in that compound work. And then obviously progressively overloading. Remember, it's a case of small increments to get bigger arms, not just trying to put a load of weight through it. That's not the right way. We've spoken about that. And thirdly, you're not eating the correct way. Remember, if you're in a deficit all the time, you're not going to be, you're going to be getting leaner. You might even be body recomping, but you're not going to build crazy amounts of muscle, especially in a part of your body such as your arms. So realistically, you want to be making sure that you're eating the correct way, you're putting yourself into a surplus, you're bringing your body weight up, and you are focusing on obviously upping your lifts. Those are the key tenets to growing bigger arms. In my opinion, those are the mistakes you could potentially make. And if you are making any of them, stick around to the end of this video and I'll tell you how to go about solving all of those. But remember, your genetics do play a key role. Some people just have crazy arms. I believe everyone just gets 2 muscle groups where they're just fucking gifted at. And it does play a key role, but it doesn't mean you can't improve them. It just means you need to work a little bit harder and you need to have accuracy with each rep and set. You need to be very, very strategic in the way you train your arms and just realize it takes time. But remember, when you look at a physique, if we take like Dorian Yates for example, like no one's gonna look at him and just be like, "Fucking hell, that guy's biceps crazy." The first thing that people see is his back and his fucking hamstrings and his legs. It's just like mental. No one just like goes, "That guy's biceps massive." It's like what you want to think about is just if your arms aren't exactly where they need to be, they can be improved, but don't make it like your whole main focus. Focus on your compounds. Focus on improving your back and your chest and your shoulders, and naturally your arms will catch up. In order for you to grow a big chest and to grow a big back, your biceps and triceps will be supporting that. So do understand that there is a bit of a correlation between the two, and don't be disheartened if your genetics are not there. That's all I would say. Now that's why your arms are not growing. Now let's give you a bit of science and understanding. A lot of this will be bro science. If you want exact anatomy, go somewhere else. I'm just going to give you my understanding. Essentially, the bicep has 2 heads. The triceps have 3 heads. It makes sense. The tricep makes up 2/3 of your arm, and the bicep makes up the other third. Therefore, the tricep should be trained more than the bicep with a mixture of compound and isolations, as we have spoken about. Fortunately, the triceps do get trained quite a lot, because when you're doing any sort of shoulder pressing or chest pressing, the tricep is always going to allow you to actually extend. So they are getting a lot of stimulation there. But it's just also very important if you're programming, for example, upper lower, to make sure that you're including 2 tricep exercises and 1 bicep exercise, whether you do that on your upper day or you do it on your lower. You typically don't need 2 bicep exercises depending on what split you're doing. If you are devoting an actual day to arms, or for example you're doing push and arms, then that makes sense. Or you're doing just a push day by itself, yeah, that could make sense. Or sorry, a pull day even. However, really 2-to-1 ratio when it comes to tricep and bicep. What I typically do is just 1 close grip bench, 1 extension, and then I'll probably do a dumbbell preacher curl, and that will be pretty much everything I need. And when it comes to actual growth and improving, obviously, the size of your arms, I would say you just want to hit them as much as possible. Like if you're trying to build up a muscle group and they're not growing, then you just need to train them more. It's that simple. And then just making sure that you're targeting them in the right rep range. For example, like you're not going to be wanting to train for strength when it comes to your bicep and your tricep in the 3 to 5 rep range. You're wanting to be doing, perfect form, which means you're probably going to be using lighter weights. And that means you're going to be wanting to go for blood flow as opposed to just pure annihilation. So I would say aim for like 8 to 10, so you get a mixture of like a fairly heavy weight and that blood flow, and then that 12 to 15 rep range, so you're getting 2 birds 1 stone. Personally, for example, when I do my seated incline, like I'm pretty strong, but I would do my top set 12 to 15 for like 10 to 12 reps, and then my second set is around 10 kg for like 15 or 20 reps. And like that's more than enough. Like I'm crying on that last rep because I'm just training with pure accuracy. Everything is 6 seconds. Like if you look at the way I'm doing things, I would be like here. So I'd obviously start the movement from up here, and I'd be lowering 1, 2, 3, literally defying gravity, pausing there, and then coming back up and squeezing. When I'm holding that, and then 1, 2, 3, like even without weight, that actually hurts. It's like have that mindset. Realize it's not all about just weight. It's about the way you move the weight. That's one thing I always want to talk about on this channel, and just please understand that. Make sure we're obviously doing everything with accuracy, and we are training to failure. Film your video, film yourself training, and if you can see that you have more, or you have more and you didn't do it, then that's another big problem. But that's something that comes with time. You need to just make sure that you're really like pushing it in the gym. People say they train to failure, but like failure's subjective. It's like, right, let's see. When you train with someone who's bigger than you and you realize what fucking failure is, your limits will be broken. And the way I do it is just literally until your arms can't physically move, until you physically can't do another rep, then you've hit failure. Don't go when it starts hurting. That's just bullshit. What you should do when it starts hurting, this is the way I believe things, when it starts hurting, that's when the gains are made. And it's like if you're in this like section in this chamber where the gains are just it's starting to be fucking painful, you need to try and stay in that period for as long as possible. That's when you double down, you shout something in your head, you get that tune going or whatever it is, and you just unlock this new part of your fucking mindset, and you keep going for 5 or 6 more reps. That's where the gains are made, because you're going into the unknown. And a lot of this is mindset when it comes to arms training and general training. But so just remember, like if you're someone who struggles with actual intensity and pushing to failure, remember when it hurts, that's when you start counting. Add another 5 when it starts to hurt. Don't be the guy who stops when it starts hurting. That's just stupid, because honestly, that's where the gains are made. And that takes time, but that's how you get unbelievable pumps. Now, my go-to arm workout. So what would I recommend? So in terms of biceps, I would do single arm preacher curls, one of the best exercises ever. Now, there is a reason why we don't do double arm, and I'll tell you why. So what you'll do is you'll just grab a bench or one of the preacher curl setups, and you'll just lock yourself, your armpit right in there, and then you'll just position yourself where you literally can't cheat, so your tricep and your armpit are tucked in there, and then you're literally just controlling it. You know, squeeze, 1, 2, 3, so on, so on. What you can do as well, if you wanted to get a little bit more contraction, try this. You can bring your wrist in and twist it, and you'll notice that you get a little bit more of a contraction in your bicep. Look at that. So if I do this, my hand, this is just me coming up, and I twist. Look what happens to my bicep right there. If you do that, you'll get a little bit more of a contraction. Now, preacher curls work because it obviously locks your tricep and forces you to keep your elbow joint stable, which means you can't cheat. But single arm also makes sure that when you go to failure, you can use your other arm to support your wrist to get some extra negative reps, which means you can push past failure and allow yourself to progress even quicker. If you're doing, dual arm, then that's not really possible. So that's why single arm works a lot better. And also, when you're training things unilaterally, you can also focus a lot more of your energy into the movement, and that way you're going to get more growth as a result. Second of all, you've got your cable rope curls and your dual D handle curls. I like these just because I feel like it's really, really easy to keep your elbows just like fixed in. Like, for example, when I'm on a cable curl, I can just literally keep my elbows on my side and just go like that. When you're using dumbbells, it gets easy to swing. This is just kind of easier in terms of just like keeping your elbows stable. A lot of people just chat shit on Instagram and say like, oh, the cables keep more tension. Like, no, what the fuck? It's just up and down. It's just like the reason cables work is because you can just, 1, keep your elbows in a nice position, and 2, it provides a different kind of increment in weight. For example, the weights go up normally on dumbbells by 2 kilo each side, so every week you're gonna have to progress by 4 kilo. But on the cables, sometimes you can up it by a little bit less. So, do you know what I mean? Cables are better. And then also incline seated curls, same thing. You can position your elbows in such a nice way, because if you're putting your chest up like this, you're pretty much removing all possible ways to cheat, and then you're also allowing your elbows to kind of get tucked in there, so it's kind of locked in. Honestly, try it. All of these exercises provide easy ways to keep your elbows fixed, and I'd highly recommend. They don't provide any grief on your wrist as well, which is really, really important. Another reason why I like the cables. So I would highly recommend and test those out using the rep ranges we discussed. Next, when it comes to tricep, remember what I said about compounds and isolations. The mistake I used to make was just doing the crossover extensions in a single cuff. It's not enough. You want to start with a heavy compound. What I would recommend is your close grip bench press and weighted dips. Those are my 2 favourite. You can do skull crushers, but you got to make sure you master that movement because it fucking hurts your elbows. But close grip bench presses always do the trick. It is amazing. Do it on the Smith machine. You can pump a lot of weight on that, and you can really, really control it. This is an exception. This is where you do want to be adding weight because it's a compound exercise. On the isolations, you want to keep it nice and light. But you can go heavy on these, and this is what will grow your tricep because you can put a lot of weight through this. And then just supplementing that with a crossover extension, so one of these ones, or the single cuffed extension like that. Boom. Those are your bicep and tricep exercises. And that's what I'd recommend. Any more that you'd like an opinion on, please drop in the comments. But other than that, I'll give you my best tips. Your arms will grow as your compounds increase. So your bench and your shoulder press, all of them involve triceps. Your arms will naturally grow. But if you're wanting to take them further, just make sure that you're doing extra arm days. So the way I would do things, for example, is if you're doing push-pull legs, what I would do is push, pull, 2 arm days. You're doing triceps on push, you're doing biceps on pull. When you obviously do legs, and then I do another push and arms day, so I'm getting more arm work done. So I'm training everything twice, and then I probably do like a back and legs or a density day, and that means I'm training every muscle group twice. Or I do upper lower and just train everything twice. But that's all you want to be doing, just training everything twice and doing it with complete accuracy. If you're training with accuracy, you'll provide a real stimulus. You'll provide real growth. Heavy weight is not the way. It just feeds the ego, especially when it comes to arms. Second of all, have nutrition locked in. Heavy carb meal price training and enough protein and calories. This is a must. If you're not bringing your body weight up and you're not putting yourself in a surplus, you're not going to see crazy growth. You're not going to see crazy results. So that's really, really important. Another one is obviously using creatine. Creatine gives you more energy. If you have more energy, you can lift more. If you can lift more, you get stronger. If you get stronger, you get bigger. Get good sleep. and make sure you're progressively overloading and doing so with accuracy. A really, really good tip is film and review your form. Even if you do not do content or you're not an influencer or whatever it is, buy a tripod. The reason why is because you can just film your workouts, and if you really, really want to get better, you can just find out what you're doing wrong. I'm very fortunate. I know what I'm doing wrong all the time because I film pretty much every set, and I can see when my elbow goes out of place. I don't need anyone to tell me. I just see it myself. So filming has really, really helped me improve my form in certain exercises and in turn my muscle growth in certain movements. So that's kind of how I would grow my arms, but just understand it comes with time, and those are the things that you can be doing to grow them a little bit quicker. So I hope that was useful. That's today's video. It's Friday, 7 p.m. I'm about to actually hit pushing arms, so it's quite a fun little evening. But yeah, this is what we're doing on a Friday now. No going out. We are locked in. Make a YouTube video. Big carb meal. Hit the gym. Then Stairmaster. Netflix. Call it a night. Ready to go again tomorrow. So let's fucking go. If you guys want any help with the gym, or you want to get in unbelievable shape going into summer, please fill out my application below and I can get in touch and let you guys know how to do so. But I hope that was useful. We'll be back again tomorrow. I'm actually going to try and do every single day without fail now, even weekends. So follow the journey. It's going to be interesting, boys. All the best. Have a great weekend.